All right, so I'm just gonna quickly share my screen and go over, some of you probably already know this, but just what a script breakdown entails, what it is. Oh, hold on, Raphael's trying to come in. So let me start with this one. What is a script breakdown? In filmmaking, a script breakdown is a thorough analysis of a script that identifies and categorizes all the elements needed to properly prepare for the production process. Early in the pre-production process, the thing we're going to be doing today on part of the script is what this would be. A film's producer will typically make a basic scaled down script breakdown for budgeting and creating a preliminary schedule. It's then the job of the first assistant director to create the more comprehensive main script breakdown, which they use to generate the full shooting schedule, shot list, strip boards, and individual scene breakdowns. So basically it sets up everything in the script. You find all of the elements, you see how long you think it's going to be, you break it down. I think they say, yeah, you always break down your script into eighths because they say like one page equals 1 minute of screen time, but you want to break it down even further into eighths so you can see like how many little individual pieces of the page are going to be in one scene. And you do that so you can see how many pages each scene is. If it's like 4 pages and 2/8, then you know it's like, 4 pages and 1/4 of another page. And then that can kind of give you a sense of, okay, this might be around 4 minutes of screen time, or it might be 4.5 minutes, because that really comes into play a lot when you're breaking down everything and trying to make.
And it also helps with production, like knowing how long this is going to take to film, that is going to take to film, knowing how long you're going to take to set up this scene, for example.
Yeah, like finding everything and just knowing what is going to happen. And then you take each piece of the scene and you find each element. And this is what we're going to do next week, but I'm just going to go over it real quick to kind of give you guys an idea. We're just going to do the basic one. And all I was thinking today is we could find like how many scenes there are and kind of give an estimate of how long each scene will take and how long we think it'll take up in screen time. And then next week, we'll deep dive into finding the elements and using breakdown sheets and maybe turning it into a shooting schedule. But you find the elements, and elements can be anything like cast members, which are highlighting the character's name for all the cast members, are any who speak. Extras are also are another thing you tag. You do each one with a different color when you're doing it. You can either do it by hand, they say, like you do it with a physical script, you'd have like different highlighters, or you can do it in what I was trying to do in like something like Studio Binder, which breaks it down for you. And you kind of just, it highlights it for you. Let me show you.
And the reason for this is that way you can organize like which department's going to be in charge of what.
Like that. It already highlighted the character's name in purple because purple is for the characters in that. So it'll highlight each thing differently. You will go through your script over and over and over again, making sure that you capture each element and highlighting it. And maybe extras are blue, cast members are purple, props could be yellow, whatever. And that just gives you a sense of what everything is. And that way, when you have all your department heads, you can go to your props master, give him the script and let him see what he needs to do and have those meetings with those discussions to figure out what certain things people will be responsible for. In the video, we tried to show you guys, there was certain things like there was what was it? The salon had like these swinging barn doors.
The saloon, you mean?
Saloon, right. Had these swinging doors, and they were saying that could either be location, that could be a prop, that could be because the characters physically push it open, or that could just be set dressing. So you need to have those meetings and highlight it with all 3 colors to see like who's going to be handling this thing. Are you going to be doing it, or you? And then you figure out who's going to be doing everything. So
it's a pretty important aspect of pre-production. So you know what everyone's job is, what they're going to do, how much work they're going to have to put into that, who's in charge of what part of the story of the script.
And so that you don't arrive to set and be like, oh crap, we forgot the candle that they hold.
He gave a good example of a horse, and there's a scene in the Western where she's running on a horse with him, and like there's this what do you call it? My goodness. That thing, not a whip, but that thing that you saddle him with. Like
a saddle?
No, goodness gracious, what's the word I'm thinking of? I forgot now.
Lasso?
Anyway, there's like a whip.
What'd you say? Lasso.
Yes, lasso. Thank you. So there was a lasso, and he said, "Okay, so this is basically a stunt. We need to see like what we want to do. Like, is the lasso going to wrap around? How far is it going to go? What movements they're making? Like all of those little things." They need to have beforehand how it's going to be set up and prepared so that when they get to the scene, they know exactly what they're going to do and they don't waste time because time is money.
So. Yeah. So you're going to go through your script, marking down everything you have. Cast members are speaking roles. Extras are people that are in the background. Props are anything the character interacts with. Vehicles, any cars or trucks or boats, motorcycles, helicopters, anything.
Yeah, they explain the difference between set dressing and props.
Yep, set dressing is just anything in the background that they don't, they don't mess with. It's just something that's in the background, but something that they hold in their hand is a prop.
And I don't
anything they're interacting with is a prop, basically.
What'd you say, Daniel?
I don't see it much myself. I do it for my script, but every project I've worked on, I've always put legend in the script whenever I do that.
Legend?
So basically it tells what everything is. So what color is what.
Oh yeah, that makes sense to have like a little.
Like I've never seen it in a script, but I always do it in mine.
That makes sense. It makes it a lot clearer.
Yeah.
And then they have the animals. If there's any animals, you need to make sure you have that set dressing, which is what we just said. Anything
animal
wrangler, like
wrangler,
decorations.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You mean animal wrangler?
Well, they say animals, but there's also animal wrangler. Yeah.
You that wouldn't be.
You need to organize the animals and the wrangler. Basically, they're separate things, but they work together. So you have to see how many animals you're going to have in that shoot. You're going to have to see how long you can have the animals for, and then you have to make sure the wrangler's in charge of that.
Yeah, it says it right here. In addition to the animals, the production will need to hire an animal handler or trainer.
Another thing that this is useful for is for you to see how long you're going to have your actors there for. That way you can like schedule it perfectly so that your actors know how long they're going to be on set, how many scenes they're needed for, how many hours of work, and you organize it a lot better as well.
Then there's music. That's any music that the characters in the script actually sing or they hear. And it's not meaning post-production music that you put in as a soundtrack. It's just meaning the stuff that is going to actually be in the while you're filming. You got sound effects, costumes, makeup and hair, stunts. And they say stunts is kind of like anything that's more than walking. It could be considered a stunt because even if someone's just running, it creates a little bit of a safety hazard where they could trip and fall and hit their head on something. So most people just put that as a stunt just to talk over with the department heads to make sure everyone's
there's nothing in the way. There's nothing they could trip over. There's no
just to talk over the safety issues of what could happen and make sure everyone's on the same page of how to handle it.
So everything that's more than walking is a stunt, apparently.
Yeah. Any practical effect that occurs, special effects, visual effects, special equipment. What was that?
Today, the regeneration facility. Can you please find other?
I think someone's on the phone.
I think so, yeah. All right. Any special equipment you might need, like a camera, like an underwater camera or a drone or a camera crane. You put that for certain shots. And then you can just put like miscellaneous notes. And that's all I'm going to go over today, but like just to give you guys a general idea. Hold on.
And then next on Thursday, we're probably going to have the page of the script and we're going to go through it and we're going to break it down.
Yeah. So like, does anybody know, Daniel, how do you break down your scripts? Do you do it physically or do you use some kind of software?
I usually depends on me. Like if I get someone else to write the script, I'll do it like by hand. I'll actually grab a bunch of highlighters. But if I'm writing the script myself, I'll actually highlight it in the program.
Oh, okay. And what program do you use?
Right now I'm using Microsoft Word, but I'm trying to get my what's it called program, Final Draft to work.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I heard Final Draft has it built in.
Final Draft is an amazing program. No advertisements.
But yeah, so I uploaded the script I read you guys last week, and I posted to Facebook, and it came out with this, and that's all it can. That's all it did. It says the rest I need to have the upgraded version to
Am I missing something?
access.
This and this, and I don't see anything.
You're not seeing my screen?
Oh, okay, now I do. It's a whole different window.
Oh yeah, that and that. So that's all I have, and I was just kind of like, oh well, because I was trying to do the preliminary breakdown today, and on that, it looks like we can't really do that unless we just kind of go to the script and kind of just check it out. Because what it did is it took this this scene header and broke it into an eighth, and then it took this scene header and broke it into another eighth, and then just said, all right, for the rest, you got to do premium version. And yeah, so I'm not really, I don't know.
Maybe that's what happened to that.
So did you try it on Word like I said with the ruler?
Not yet. I don't really. Does anyone know how to use Word really well? I know how to
I
use
don't.
Word, but like I never use like the rulers and stuff.
I feel like I remember there being like a line thing where you can put it. You can put like a big dark line through it, and then you can divide it by 8.
How though? I don't know. I don't want to spend the whole time trying to like figure out how to use this thing.
So we might have to wait.
It sucks because like this was working for most of what I wanted to use it for. This studiobinder.com was using. It broke down another script into like it didn't let me use half the pages, but it still showed me what was going on, so it made it a lot easier. So I don't really know. I guess we could just kind of read over this and kind of make our own guess, logical guess of how long each of these pieces are going to take based on what's in it. And I mean, I guess we can also just.
Did you see the page I sent you? Did you try that with the other example?
What do you mean?
The script I sent you, did you try putting that in and seeing if that also is giving the same issue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's breaking it down too much.
So we might have to wait until Thursday, hon, because otherwise it's gonna.
What?
Oh, Sarah said, I notice how long everything takes. It takes a while to build or write anything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it does. And that's just the writing part too. And after you write it, you're not even thinking about it too much. But once you start doing this, it's crazy how much you think about everything. Oh, one note I wanted to add actually was because these kind of things break it into different pieces based on scene headings, you guys need to make sure that any scripts you guys have, you have all of the scene headings in there. Because I noticed that in some people's scripts, oh, Daniel's trying to come in. I noticed that in some people's scripts, you guys didn't have as many scene headings as you needed. Like you'd change location. And if you were going inside, like if you were inside a bar and your characters walked outside a bar, that's a different location. So you need to put a scene heading to change the area. Even though it's right after they're in the bar, it's still a different scene. It's going to take a different setup. It's an exterior shot. So depending on if it's day or night, it's going to change when you shoot it. And it makes everything a lot, you don't ever want to leave any scene headings out because you don't want to be thinking of a scene in your head and then especially if you're making an indie and then you make it yourself and you get to the project and you notice, oh, I only made time for this one scene because I thought we were shooting it all together. But since they're walking outside of the bar, we had to change all the lighting, the camera angles, you know, and it's a lot of setup that goes into it, more than you think. So you guys, when you're writing your scripts, make sure you're putting all the scene headings and exactly if they're going to a car and then they get into a car, that's going to be a different scene heading. It's just because you have to set up the cameras differently and get that.
A good thing is just to remember, like, if you weren't there and you have to direct the story and show them everything, you're not there. They have to see all this and basically set up the shot, set up the scene, and have all that ready. They can't be there to ask you, hey, what were you thinking in this moment? Or, hey, where do they go from here? It has to be very clear.
Yeah. So like, just like in my script, it starts in the hallway and then she walks into the room and that starts the new scene heading because it's a different area. It's a different setup.
Storyboards are your best friends as well.
Also, that room might not even be in the same location. Like if you're at a bar, you might get a bar for a day and then be at that location inside, but they don't let you shoot outside the next day. So you have to find a different location to shoot outside that could be the bars outside. And so that would change anything. And what did you say, Daniel?
Storyboards can be your best friends sometimes too.
Yes. Yeah. Don't you usually make a storyboard after you do the script breakdown though?
Oh, it depends on the script. Depends on the filmmaker. Sometimes you do a rough draft before and a rough draft, and then do a final after.
Okay.
Yeah, like I told you that James was talking about how Miyazaki would have his scripts basically almost purely storyboarded. He wouldn't really have. That's kind of how he started it. But he was an animation specialist, so I feel like it depends on your.
It gives a general idea for when you're doing the script. It gives you more of an idea to build how you want the scene. Like that's what I find, at least.
Okay.
Like if you want the scene shot in a particular way, and then you can write it in the script that way for the finals, when you're ready to write the final script and stuff.
Yeah, but one of the things that was recommended to us in a lot of the videos was also like, you have no guarantee that you're going to be the director. So try not to make too many camera shots. Try not to.
Yeah, if you're doing it for yourself and you know you're going to make it, that's different. But if you're trying to write it to get someone else to do it. That's a whole different story
right there.
Right.
Yeah, so the script has to be mainly just story, really, and try to minimize, you know what I mean? Try to make it, do as minimum descriptions of detailed places, of specific shots, or that kind of thing as possible, which is probably one of the hardest things because you do have this vision in your mind and separating like, okay, so I'm just telling the story and the emotion behind it and the dialogue behind it, and the rest, like the way it's going to look and the way it's going to be shot, is all up to the director. But you can get like a feel for the energy.
Director of photography too. They work.
Yeah, but you can get like a feel for the energy of the story and give the director an idea of the theme that you're trying to get and the vibe that you're trying to get just by your dialogue and just by your descriptions of the scenes as well. So that's also a good tool.
And I think especially since everybody's just starting out with script writing, it's going to be good if you guys go through your script and start breaking it down, doing a script breakdown, because you'll find like what's in the scene. Is there something in your breakdown that's not actually in the script? Because you're going to have to go back in the script and write that in. Like I was saying, is it a change of location? Then you need to go back and write that in. Is there something in their hand that you weren't even thinking of while you were writing the script? You know, you gotta like, so I think it'll help me too to go back in and just see like, oh yeah, I thought about this, but I never actually put that in the script. And
another thing, both for storyboarding and for script writing, that we've noticed is also like, say, have specific places like a salon, a park or whatever, but try not to make it too detailed.
Make it generalized.
Because you don't know if you're going to get that exact space. You don't know if you're.
That would be interior still, because that's still somewhere else. Also, you can use a subheader for that since it's in the same location. It kind of looks like a shot, like where you would do the shot, but it's like it just says like kitchen.
Honey,
So-
maybe give another example then, because
Because you were saying earlier that if you're doing like, I'm walking outside, you're outside, and then I'm going into the car, or if you're going from, I guess, so if you're in that same house interior and you go to the kitchen, but that's not setting up another shot.
It is setting up another shot, but you don't have to do the whole interior Lisa's room day thing, not always. If it's in the same area, they said you can do something more like this, where it's just saying like kitchen. And then they go into the kitchen, and it's capitalized, and you know they can see it clearly in the script that it's going to be a change of location, but it's not. It's not
I'll
a
set
change
a
of
reminder
location.
to
It's a
look for
change
some
of where
examples
what
of
room
that during the week. I'll set a reminder to look for some examples of that during the week.
Yeah, they said it in some videos where it's just like if they're in the same area, if I'm going from one room to the next,
Or maybe
then especially if I'm doing it in rapid succession, if they just do it once, like you said, they could do bathroom to the kitchen. You could do another like interior kitchen. But if you're going from the bathroom to the kitchen to the room to the living room, you wouldn't want to do too many like interior, because that's going to slow down your script for whoever's reading it. So you might just want to use like kitchen and then do the next scene and then go back and rewrite. Not rewrite, sorry, go back and add like where they're going, where they're at. Where it's like all caps to the left like that. And also if you're in the kitchen, going out of the bathroom into the kitchen, you're still on an interior location. So it'd be interior, not exterior. Exterior is only for anything happening outside. Or if it's a car, then it's interior / exterior because they're inside the car, but they're also outside in the world.
dang it. I'm trying to find an example script-wise that I can send.
Yeah, but I don't know. Since this isn't really working like I thought it was going to, I'm kind of just like bummed about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You tried it earlier, it worked fine.
So like
and
long narrow hallway would be a location. They have that. Huh. You can also add a category. Oh.
Let me see something. Just a second. Sorry, guys. We had a plan for today, and now it's not working. So sorry if it's a little jumbly. Oh, yep.
But yeah,
here it
see,
is.
in that way it paints it
honey,
dark blue.
I found an example. Oh wait, Irish pub, bathroom, Irish pub. Yeah. So yeah, there are some scene headers. For example, he's in the pub, and then it does say interior Irish pub day, and then interior Irish pub, and then bathroom day, Irish pub bathroom day. So maybe you do have to add that extra thing. Because in some scripts, I am seeing that.
Yeah. Okay. So if the scene takes place like, I think Brad, when he was in the group, he had in his scene where the guy was like halfway going out onto his porch to hammer in some nails. That he used a interior exterior because that explains he's going to be going inside and outside of the back door. You know, like one of those sliding glass doors. So it's interior and exterior.
A car moving is the same thing, your interior and exterior, because you're in a car, but the car is also outside, like in a parking lot.
But yeah, so what you would do if you had the software, you would go through it like this, and like you would just find each element. Lisa, they already painted her purple because she's a character. White glow, that could either be that could be a special effect, or it could be honestly, it could be like one optical, mechanical, or visual, depending on if you want to do it with lighting or depending on if you want to do it in like After Effects or something and create it after the fact. I think it's always good to try to get it on the set and then just enhance it later. So I'd probably say,
I would just put special effect either way.
yeah. And you can, I think you can add more than, oh no. Huh. Well, if I was doing it on paper, I would be highlighting it with all three just to kind of like talk with my department heads about it once we start getting the thing going.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, it
That's
isn't just the special effects department that's going to work on it; it's the others as well. So if you only put that one,
Yeah,
then
so you like talk
sometimes
to your
forget,
Yeah,
or-
that's
director
what I
of
was gonna say.
photography.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like I would basically put it as special effect, but I would talk to my crew and just make sure it's like, well, can we do this here now?
Because there's
Yeah.
going to be so much. Because there's going to be so much that you're going to be doing and that we're going to be doing. So it's just crazy. So if we can put as much as possible in those notes, not just put one thing and be like, oh, I'll talk to the other crews later, because I feel like in the moment you're going to be so busy and there's going to be so much, and that department's going to think, oh, there's only one note here, so that probably is just only my job. And then
I
the
don't know.
other
I think that's
departments
why
will
you have
also-
production meetings. Production meetings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
No,
about to say.
exactly. But have a note.
You have pre-meetings before the
have
day.
a note
Yeah.
for it is what I'm saying. Like have a little note in the corner or something just so that you don't forget.
Yeah. Yeah, like
'Cause there's
don't
gonna
leave
be so
anything
much in
out.
your
Make
mind.
sure to talk it through with whoever you guys are working with. If it's us, if it's someone else, or whatever. Like always talk it out with the people.
Yeah.
Like me,
It just seems like there's
if I
so much
if I
to
was
do.
filming this, I would be talking to whoever my director of photography is. I'd be talking to whoever my gaffer is, my production manager, being like, hey, so how should we accomplish this scene? You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, so with paper, you just go through, you highlight it, have different highlighters or different colored pencils or something. Just make sure it's, you know, something that stands out, and you can underline or highlight the word, and just keep track of every single thing that happens. I say a loud smash right here. That'd be a sound effect. I think they have that. Yeah.
And remembering again that if a sound effect is supposed to be something like to note, you have it in caps. If not, you don't need to.
Duplicates of furniture would be considered set dressing. Where is set dressing? Oh.
The cup, honey, the cup of pens, that would probably be a prop because
That'd be
she
a
hits
prop
it.
because she touches it.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the bed and the blankets when she's like covered up, when one of the other girls is like in the blankets, that might probably be a prop as well because she's interacting with it.
And you know, like I would highlight all this: 2 dressers, 2 this, 2 that.
And you want your crew to know, like, in case that needs to be redressed back to ones, like to any of the props or the furniture or whatever.
Oh yeah, like hey, you guys need to move that back. Like for
Yep.
the pencil thing, like you said, like Priscilla said. I mean, if it once we knock it off the table, we got to put it back on.
But take a
And
picture of
refill
it first, so you know exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because people will always nitpick those. I know I do.
Question. So basically the script writer is the one who is like their vision. So pretty much they relay to everybody else what they want their whole picture to look like, right?
Kind like if you're working on your own project, yes. But if you were working on like a bigger project, you were the script writer, you'd probably just be selling it to somebody else to make.
Gotcha. Okay. I was curious.
But yeah, like if it's there are certain like bigger people in Hollywood who write their own stuff and then go create it. So they would be the ones kind of showing their vision to everybody else, like you said.
Right. Okay.
Hey, honey, I think your mic might be off.
Oh crap! I was trying to say that's why, because I was like, Chaisun is asking, each page is like a minute in the film, right? It's supposed to be, but it isn't always that way. Like
that's why they're breaking it up into. That's why they break it up into 8s when you're breaking down your screenplay, because one page is sort of supposed to correlate to 1 minute of screen time, but depending on how much action or how much dialogue there is, it might extend past that. And that's why you break it up into 8s and look at it and really like see like how long do I think this will take, and then come up with a more proper estimate after you do the.
Yeah, you try to structure it as well as you can so that it is a minute, but sometimes a scene can take a little bit longer, or especially if it's an action scene. Yeah, so we like that's supposed to be a rough estimate so you can have like an idea of how to structure it, but it isn't always the case, which is why the separating it into segments is so important. And also playing the scene out in your head and seeing how long it would actually take, rewriting to see if like you need all of that detail.
And even though Lisa was already highlighted in the last part, I would highlight her again because this is a new scene or a new area. So we know, and that's important to know what am I saying? That's important to know when you'll need your actors and for how long. You come up with like an estimate of that based on this type of stuff. You say, okay, they're in 40 different scenes. I need to make sure that I have them all on these days, and this location, that location, and then try to come up with a shooting schedule based on all of that.
Like, because you might just need one actor just for like 3 hours, where the rest are there for 9 hours or something like that.
Ooh, that's another tip that I learned. Just a second, let me leave the room, otherwise it's gonna be an echo. So that's another tip I was watching, and they said to always, like in the future, to always book your actors a little bit longer or schedule them a little bit longer than you think you'll need them, because you have to account for reshoots, account for extra scenes, sometimes rewrites. So always, if you're booking an actor or if you're being booked for a particular thing, make sure to have like a little extra time than you need, so that you can have time for any emergencies and stuff like that, anything you can't predict.
And you also forgot, in case of makeup, takes a little longer than expected.
Yeah, that
Right.
too.
Oh, she was meaning like you schedule you.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean too. So.
Okay. Because
But
you want them to
show
up to set early, but also you want,
But what I
after
said
you're
is, like,
done
any
shooting and wrapping up, you also want
Yep.
to have them available for maybe a few extra days just in case.
Yep.
Obviously, if you have a lower budget, you can't really say, hey, don't work on anything for a week just in case.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying, like, if we're scheduling, for example, if you're going to schedule your script and, this script is going to take about, let's say, a week to film. You should always count a few extra days in that schedule for emergencies, for inconveniences, for delays of any kind. Just count an extra, like, let's say it takes 2 weeks to film. Most short films take somewhere between 3 days to a week to film. At least the short films like I know and I've heard of. It could be longer, it could be shorter, depending on the story you're trying to tell. But on average, it seems to be that way, around like 3 days to a week or two. And it's always remembering to have like a couple extra days just in case,
Yeah. So the thing just told me that I according to it, my current plan only allows for 10 things to be highlighted. So I'm like, okay, wow. It's not really free.
It's just giving you a taste of what it could be, pretty much.
Yeah, right. So, but that's the gist of it. I'm probably going to do it physically for this one, since it's only like, a short story. It's only 7 or 8 pages. And
we might just print out your script. I have all the highlighters. We can just do it. I can take a picture of it and we can show it to the group.
Yeah, because like with a feature film, it'd be so much more that I would probably just go ahead and pay the thing for a month or two and use it while I was.
Aren't you thankful for my bajillion pens and highlighters now?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's basically the gist of it.
One thing that we were going to ask you guys, 1 second. We get it. Yeah, Brent, we get it. It's just because we had this whole plan, so now we're trying to figure out, okay, so what we're going to organize, So one thing that we were also going to talk about was ask you guys about your scripts. Like we said, you don't have to do all 4. That was just a suggestion. If you have 1 or 2 that you're really passionate about and you want to try and make that one perfect, that's completely fine. And you can completely work on that. And today starting this week, we're supposed to have like our second drafts of the first one and our second ideas for the second script, basically. So does anyone have any idea for a second script, or is anyone on their second draft? That kind of thing.
Oh yeah, did anybody create an idea for the second script or a log line?
Oh, I've thought of this idea, like I'm slowly working on with Sarah actually.
Okay.
But I'm still working on my first one as well. I don't have a log line, but basically just I'm going with the whole horror aspect of it.
Ooh.
Basically, some people that are gone missing in the forest, and they're trying to be found. Like some people are trying to find them.
Cool. Okay.
Like I haven't really webbed it out much, but I'm working on that and my feature film. I'm working on like 5 scripts at the same time right now.
Oh dang, nice.
So I'm like,
but that's good work, right? That's good exercise, because you said that you were having trouble because you're not really much of a screenwriter. Now you're being, thrusted into it.
I usually I come up with the idea and I give it to my script writers. That's what I do. So, because I'm not much of a writer, I mainly just come up with the idea.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been feeling that way for a while. I have 3 ideas in the works. I've started writing the 3 scripts, but I haven't finished one of them, so it's really annoying. But I get it. Yeah, Brent, that's perfectly fine. Like working on one script, getting it perfect. If that's the one you're passionate about and that's one you want to work on, that's like awesome. An example that I would give you guys, the video I sent, the last one about how to write a short script, a short story, is a short film, is really, really good, because I remember last week it was Brent, I think Chaisun as well, and Chisun, as well, and someone else talking about how they're having a bit of trouble understanding like the differences between a short film and a feature film, like how the writing would be, how the pacing would be, since you don't have as much time. And I completely understand that. So I found this pretty good video in the playlist, because the stuff that we put on the syllabus, it's not everything that we have. A lot of the stuff on the playlist on the YouTube channel that we put together have a lot more stuff. So if you're ever stuck and you can't find what you're looking for, look over there. It'll be there.
You can check the playlist. Chisoms asked, isn't storyboarding basically a script for animation? It's more like a first take on what you want the film to look like. Storyboarding is more for like how you want the shots to be set up, how you want it to look, where the characters are in the scene.
Definitely for both.
Are you doing a wide shot? Are you doing a close up to like someone's face like this?
It's a lot more important in animation, and they do it a lot earlier, but that's not a rule. For the most part, I've seen storyboarding being done in action movies, like in pre-production more than anything, but you have a script. You're just working with the director to get the shots, to get the to see what you want it to look like, that kind of thing, from the videos we've watched and from the stuff we've learned, right?
Yeah, like storyboarding is used on live action stuff too. It's not just animation.
Like you can actually look up online the storyboard for Jurassic Park.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And it shows like what everything, where everything would be.
If I find it again, I'll put it on the group.
Yeah, I sent it on the WhatsApp group. I'll send it again if anyone wants me to send it privately, like someone already asked. But it's really good, because it shows, and that was a belief that I had, was that, a short film can't have as much tension, or a short film can't have as much world building because there's not enough time. But he gave a really good example of a short film that was actually really sweet and had an interesting end, that did it really well, that had tension, that built the characters, their motivations.
It was called Stutterer.
Is the name of the short film.
I think I saw that one on YouTube. I have yet to watch it.
Okay. Yeah, he was talking about that, and he was saying like how it touched everything really well, and how it had like these story elements. And he goes into detail about it,
Oh, okay.
like how you can do a short script or short story, short screenplay, right?
Right? Sometimes.
But yeah, so if anyone finishes their first script, go ahead and post it up on the website and WhatsApp. I'll be posting my next one. I just finished it yesterday. And yeah, I mean, that's all I have for that. Really, I thought it was going to be longer because I thought it was going to go through the whole script, but
I was just going to ask before we finish, was because I was telling Coda that I think this is pretty important to just check up with you guys and your script and your screenwriting. Is how is it going? Like, what are you guys having any issues with any specific thing? What is the main thing you're having, like, you're working on, and the main thing that you found is a bit more complicated? Is there anything that's helped that you've learned and that you didn't know before? Like anything?
Yes, I've learned that because I came from a background with writing short stories. Like I used to be decent at writing short stories, and it's not the same. It's so much different writing a script. I mean, totally different. Now, you can't even make a comparison between the two. But what I've learned from Lakota and Priscilla was the format. My format was not way off, but yeah, it was way off. My format was horrible. And
oh, trust me, that was all of us. Mine was crap. Some other people's too.
Ouch.
Yeah, but the fact that it was so, what was difficult to me was like every time I'm like, yeah, this makes sense, and you get a response from Lakota like, no, that's wrong. You got to do it. It's like the frustration, and you see.
Did you read mine too, by the way? Because it was all like, I'm gonna listen.
I didn't even get a chance to read yours. I didn't get to read.
You didn't even post yours up, Priscilla. What are you talking about?
Yes,
yeah, you didn't even post it.
The post.
No, you didn't post it. I read Lakota. I read Lakota's, and just looking at mine and the amount of like, you know, you in school, you get a bunch of red marks. Man, my page was looking like like the red background of the Lakota room, the black and red in the back.
Or Clifford the big red dog.
You know, but I appreciate.
I meant the text message I sent you in the group because you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna listen to what Lakota said." I was like, "Ouch." Priscilla gave some good pointers too.
You did. No, I meant to say both of you guys as a unit.
I know. I was like messing with Coda, like he doesn't care.
No, I do. I appreciate it, but it's just so hard, man. And I'm just trying to write it short. And I'm not really a scriptwriter person. I'm more passionate about acting, but I would like the fact that I can. I'm almost like Tommy a little bit. I want to learn how to do everything. So, you know, just like if I'm on set with Lakota and he's like, well, you know, this is what I want to do in the script. You could be able to jump right in and not be stuck. Or Daniel have something going on. And he's like, well, all right, we're going to do this. And you're going to be like, what are they talking about? All I know how to do is.
You want to be versatile.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, like I said, I feel
I just think it's better to know the script, like we were talking about with you, because you like acting. It's better to know how to do like a script, because then you know what they're trying to portray. What, even if it's like written not the best, you can see like what they're going for, and you can make your character jump off the page better, because you
always hear those stories about the actors that had horrible scripts, but they did the best with what they had to work with, was because they knew how to read in between the lines. They knew how to try to take the story out of the unfinished script or the crappy script.
Right, just like how you guys are reading mine. It was like, I get your concept, but if you're giving this script to a director or a producer, they're going to be like calling me every 5 minutes, like, so what do you want to do with the scene? What are you trying to portray here? Like, I get where you were saying like, oh, you can't be just general and say, oh, son is feeling sad at this moment. You got to be more descriptive. Like, okay, son is feeling sad. What is his facial expressions looking like? Is he, you know, doing this? He's doing that. what is the father response in his facial expression?
Right. Like a lot of you guys I saw, and I struggle with this too sometimes, but we put stuff in the script that isn't going to be on screen because it's like a thought or it's something that's not actually going to be on the screen at all. So you can't just describe how a character is acting or how they're feeling. You know, like they feel really angry and they're going to get mad, but they try not to explode. You got to make it more like, you know, their face starts getting red and they're clenching their jaw and then they just take a deep breath. That will portray on the screen. But if
And
you just
like I've
describe how
said,
it
these
is, it's not going to come
mistakes,
And
out.
it helps the talent too.
these things are so don't feel bad though, because these things are so easy. These mistakes are so easy to make when you are used to reading or writing short stories or reading books, because that's how they describe in books. Because you're supposed to be, you're the reader, you're imagining it in your mind.
Right.
There isn't like a description of a scene and the actors are there to portray that dialogue. Like your brain has to do a lot more of the work in a book, so the book is a lot more descriptive.
Your mind is the camera.
Chisum, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think the issue I'm having with my script is that, like, because I'm someone who came from writing. I'm not gonna say writing books, but I'm someone who came from someone who tried to learn. Well, I'm still trying to learn, but I'm writing books to go into screenplay. And the thing is that, like, the way I write the script, it's just action dialogue. Like I keep forgetting to focus how the camera's gonna, how they're gonna like direct the camera in the script.
Oh,
like,
you don't have to focus on that a lot, because that's
I feel like my script is just gonna be, if you just read, I feel like it's just gonna be shot, reverse shot, shot, reverse shot. No interesting cinematography.
Well, that's actually that's not terrible actually, because that gives whoever's going to direct your screenplay, that gives them more freedom to choose how they want to do it. Talk with their director of photography, like, okay, we have them talking at this table. Are we just going to go back and forth? Or are we going to do like a
because unless you're directing
unless
your
you
movie,
as like
you
unless you
need
have
to
a
give
very
them
very specific shot that you feel like needs to be in your story, you should leave it out and let whoever takes your script have the freedom to do what they will with it. Because if you wrote it well, they should be able, and they're a good director or something, they should be able to take what you wrote, understand the emotion you're going for, and do all of the tricks of the trade to get the camera to make it have that emotion.
Yeah, so don't focus too much on shots, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be the one directing it. At least I don't think so in this instance. Most of the time, we are the ones that write it, aren't the ones that direct it. So the writer's job is to focus on the story, have the story be the main backdrop, have the scenery, have the dialogue portray the emotions, show the energy, have the scenery show what kind of vibe you're going for. And then with that, the director comes in and the DP comes in and the director of photography comes in, and they see, okay, what is it going to look like? They're the ones in charge of turning it into a visual medium. You're the one in charge of making the story fly off the page and be expressive and show them what you're trying to say through your dialogue and through your character scene description.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you have some people, they'll write, direct, their own movie, or direct and produce sometimes their own movie, just because they wrote the script and they have the budget to do that. They have the means to do that.
Software I'm using lets me use a notes tab. It puts a flag icon for things like that. Be helpful to put in the script or to save for a crew meeting. Or is that tab for something else?
I feel like once you get to structure, this is just my opinion.
What software are you using?
I feel like, in my opinion, once you do get to structuring your script and trying to make it fit a certain runtime, doing that would help a lot, even if you're not in pre-production yet. That's just my opinion. Like, I am a very neurotic person, and I like things to be as structured as I can in my mind and do as much research and all that kind of stuff. So if I can have, for example, like, okay, I'm going to structure my script and make it 120 pages. having that separation helps me see how long each thing's going to take to film, how long it's going to, and make it the runtime that I want it to be, if that makes sense. So that's just my personal opinion. Like I feel like that would be helpful to me in the future.
So to answer your question, I'm not sure exactly about that specific software, but what I'm guessing it is probably a note you want to put, like not actually in your script, but you want to make a note about the script, like saying that you need to change something so that you remember to go back to it and be like, change dialogue. Like if you write it out and you don't like the dialogue, you can put a note next to it saying, revisit this dialogue, and then you can go back to it with your note. I think that's what it's for, but I'm not.
Putting the date also helps, because I've seen a lot of scripts do that. I've been studying a lot of scripts lately, and having the date and having the name of the draft that you're working on, it helps so that you can organize yourself better as well. Okay, this script is from this date, this script is from that date, and then you can go back and read your progression.
Yeah, someone said if you want to be a screenwriter, you should probably write out your first script, put it in a drawer, and then write out the second script, put it in a drawer on top of it, and just keep doing that until you have like 10 scripts. And then go back to the bottom one, because each one should be getting better than the last. And then you want to go back to the bottom one and make a new draft of it, basically. And then you just keep doing that over and over again until you feel like you have a really good script.
So anyone else have anything like that they would like to comment on? Because like I said, the main issue with writing, I completely understand. And I thought it would be really good just to check up on you guys, because I know that it can feel a little overwhelming, and sometimes it can feel like we're the only ones struggling with this. And like, oh, it probably is easier for everyone else. But no, these are completely common mistakes that everyone makes in the beginning when they're learning the formatting and screenwriting and stuff, and dialogue especially. For me, dialogue is
the hardest. Yeah, dialogue.
It's so hard because you want it to sound realistic, but you also want it to sound dynamic. You want it to flow naturally, but you also want it to be straight to the point. You want it, it's so much that goes into it, and you don't want it to be cliche. Like Thursday, we'll be learning about that, about cliches and what to avoid. We watched a few videos about it today.
It's almost like getting ready for a date, and you're getting ready to talk to a girl for the first time, and you're going through your mind of what you're gonna say, and keep going back and forth with different lines, and like, should I say this when she comes in? Should I say that? And it's like, to me, that's like writing a script.
Yeah. And a good thing that I said to Brent that I think would be good for everyone is say it out loud, and always speak your lines out loud, and see if it sounds realistic. Yeah. See if it sounds like something someone would actually say, but also try to make it have purpose. Don't let it be just rambling on for the sake of rambling.
I would say your characters in your script, and what I try to do when I write is I try to put myself inside that character and speak for them.
Yeah, Sarah said something like that too.
You as the screenwriter, but you want it to sound like your character. So you always jump in and be like, would my character say this? Is this how my character is? Maybe they're talking differently on purpose because they're, they just like to be not like everyone else. There's characters like that, and that's fine. But
Sarah gave another good example about talking to your character as well, as if you were the one interacting with your character. Would you understand what he's saying? Would you think he's kind of dumb? Would you think does it make sense? That was a really good tip as well. Oh, sorry.
And names are difficult too. You don't want to use all your friends and neighbors' names. You want to use different names.
What do you mean?
Like, you don't want to use your neighbors. You don't want to use names that you can actually relate to. You want to use something new, because you'll always picture that neighbor or that friend whenever you basically see that character.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it depends, but yeah, if it's someone that's really close to you.
Yeah, it depends on maybe where they're from.
Because sometimes if you just like the name and someone with the same name.
If they're really rich, then they might have a name that's more, elongated and.
Like I said, baby name book is the best thing for that.
Yeah. Like there are names that I really like that are from people I know, but it's not about them. So hopefully maybe I'll have to do a disclaimer like, hey, just so you know, this isn't about you. Who
I
knows?
feel like if I heard Priscilla or Lakota in a movie, I would think it'd be like off rip.
You would
You would
what?
think of what?
Yes,
I
I
would
mean, I
think it'd be
agree.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's y'all have very unique names, which is a good thing. So it makes y'all stand out.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone
And
Yeah,
my
no,
name
yeah.
is misspelled too, so that's even more standing out.
Listen, Daniel got them label on props.
No, my name goes always to Daniel Radcliffe or Danny Phantom.
Oh, Daddy.
Love Danny Phantom.
That was a good show back in the day.
It was.
But yeah, does anybody else have anything to say about what
Man,
they're struggling with writing a script
Tayo,
or anything
you
else?
guys missed the
Questions about
after
anything?
talk. 'Cause we
Anything,
were-
production, what we've been learning on that side.
I think all I have to say is that one thing that I realize is that when I make my, I don't know about anybody else, but when I make my script, when I create it, I want it to open the door up for, you know, possibly the bigger story. You know, that 10, 13 minutes is for, you know, perhaps maybe more episodes for a TV show, or perhaps maybe for a feature.
So you want it to be
Like a proof of
open-ended or a
concept.
proof of concept?
Yeah, proof of concept for sure. And
Yeah.
that's why I think the, you know, having more depth of thought has to come into play, because you want it to make sense. Like, I've read so many scripts, I don't want my script to be like empty and shallow. You know, I want it to have, you know, more of a concept that, you know, there's a bigger picture behind it. So this is just, you know, the introduction to that big picture and that concept that you want to share with people.
Yeah,
But
I
at
think
the same time,
some of the best
I agree.
stories are like the ones that are very character driven, or ones that have like an overarching huge story, but within that huge story, we are following a certain character. Because people always
Yeah.
like do one or the other and leave stuff out,
And you
especially in
can
the
have
overarching
like,
story. They just kind of forget the characters.
and you can have like an ending that's open-ended, but always remember, if you're doing a proof of concept, have like a scene that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because yeah, you're going to you're hoping that it's a part of a bigger story and a bigger narrative, and they can see that, but you can still do that having a beginning, middle, and end. People still know that, like, oh, this is a part of a greater story, or this leaves room for more of the story, that kind of thing. Like, one example of one YouTube channel made this short film, which was a horror film with a very lame name, you know which one I'm talking about, honey. But it was an interesting film. Basically, it was supposed to be a horror film, and it was about her husband who died, and they bought a door, and right before he died. And the thing is, like, that night she was really depressed and missing him, and then he shows up, and his ghost shows up all weird looking, and she's asking, like, can you stay, like, can you stay with me, don't leave, don't go. And then he says, yes, I can stay, and then it fades to black. And that's, of course, you know that there's more to that story and more is going to happen, but it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it ends, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But also there's an ending, you know what I mean? Because I feel like
Not
that's
the
a
ending of
lot
the
of,
actual movie, but it does have like a, I don't know, cliffhanger for that one, I guess.
yeah, because it does have, that's an issue we've seen with a lot of short films, is that they don't really know how to end it.
Or they focus too much on one thing. Like the Star Wars ones we watched, they don't care about story because they're just like, let's see these cool lightsabers fight. And it's like,
and they don't have much
there'd
of a
be more than
structure.
that to your short story to make it actually good.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, anybody else have anything to add? Or ask?
Just
No? Okay.
who's
I'm gonna share
fancy?
my screen again real quick just to remind you guys what we're going over.
Okay.
All right. So make sure to try to watch these breaking down a script videos. They were really good, really helpful.
I
Priscilla
sent them in the WhatsApp.
Priscilla sent most of them in the WhatsApp because she was like, oh, this one does a good take on this. Oh, that one does a good take on the other thing. Goes into more detail.
Because I know that you
Some of them
guys
are
with
like
your
2
busy
minutes, some of them
lives.
are like 10 minutes. They're not that long. So just, try to watch those if you can. You'll really start understanding. And if you're able to, for those of you who finished your first drafts, try to go through and do a script breakdown with your script, maybe just one page to kind of get a sense of how to do it. And then you can kind of see you might be missing some elements. You might have thought of somebody holding something, or like I said, like there's a scene header that's missing, or there's somewhere and you didn't write it in your script and you're like, oh, I need this location, but it's not in your script. You should definitely go back and rewrite that in. Make sure you have every location, every actor, every prop. It should all be in your script. Whatever's going to be on the screen should be in your script.
So
And,
like if you wanted to put basketball and stuff like that, where would you put that as part of the breakdown?
that would be in your script, like, because you said, I know in your script you had basketball court. You never mentioned them holding a basketball. You could say that he's like, he's dribbling, whatever, and then we know
They are playing basketball. You can just say that, and then
and then you just highlight playing basketball because that means, okay, that's going to be.
And the basketball would be highlighted a different color because that's a prop.
Right. And basketball court would be highlighted another color because it's a location. So,
okay.
So
like I said, also, if you guys need, if you guys just want to talk like, hey, so I'm having trouble with this aspect of a script. Are there any videos? Like the playlist is on the YouTube channel and we've separated it by topic, but like I will be sending, like I said, every week with the lessons that we're learning, the videos that we're watching through, some of the main ones, just because I know you guys are busy and sometimes you don't have time to look at the whole syllabus. But I do recommend you checking out the playlist every now and then if you have some free time and you're struggling, or if you're in like a bit of a
or you could just ask us to see if we have any like quick just like little links or something we can send you guys. Like,
that's what I was gonna say.
You don't have to wait till the meetings to ask any questions. You can just contact us and be like, hey, I'd really like to talk one-on-one with this thing that I'm trying to do.
Or if you'd like, hey, I'd like to break down this story with you, ask you what you think or anything. We can see if we can schedule a day to like talk to you guys one-on-one a little bit.
But really quick, just to go back to this. So breaking down your script, try to like watch these videos. You don't have to break down your own script, but if you have one written, try to break it down, see what comes of it. And then you could also talk to us about that. And then on the other side, we are wanting either to continue writing your first script, trying to like get it better or like get it finished at least for the first draft. Or if you've already finished your first draft, you can start working on your second draft of your second script, first draft, and then revising your first draft as well once you get more feedback.
Yeah, whatever you feel.
Other than that, we're just going to be doing how not to be cliche. There's a bunch of videos on that. They just go over a few things, not everything, of course, but it's just
and
like
not everyone is like amazing. Some are very like, eh.
Some of the video, like one of the videos was kind of just like, okay, whatever, you maybe, but like another video was going more in depth to like things that happen a lot and are common and things to maybe avoid. And it also
because it varies very much from person to person. It's a taste thing. Like, what do you think is cliche may not be cliche to the other person.
It's very subjective, but it's like it makes you at least think about it. So you can be like, is that in my script? And if it is, how could I change it to not be like everything else? How can I make it a little better? Or is it required to be in my script? And can I change anything, make it different? And then at the end of the week, on Wednesday, guys, we'll be going over the books for whoever's in the book study. We'll be, I don't know what chapters they are. I'll send them out tomorrow or Wednesday.
Chapter 4 of Save the Cat, chapters either 6 or 7 or 7 or 8.
I think it's 7 and 8 of filmmaking handbook.
We found the 6th edition, by the way. We're dumb.
And then on Thursday, we're gonna do what we did. I think we did that last Thursday too, or last Monday. We're gonna watch another film, and we're gonna be watching it for a cool concept that was executed poorly. So again, it's gonna have to be either on Amazon or Netflix, so we can do it here.
So if you guys have any recommendations, please send them to me either in the WhatsApp group or personally. Basically, movies that you thought had a really cool idea and a really cool like plot and concept, but didn't do
And
the
that's
best job.
kind of to see like how wrong something can go. Like even if it's cool on paper, it might not come off good, and that's why you need to have.
Brent, I thought you said Braveheart was awesome. Why are you saying it? Did it have a bad execution?
We want a script that has a bad execution, Brent.
Everything.
We
Brent,
want
if you
not
say
to do-
Braveheart one more time, no, I'm kidding.
All right, and that's it. That's all I have. Like just those things. This is like really quick. It's less than usual because I wanted everyone to try to focus on your scripts if you get the time, and be able to like delve deeper into it. Because next week we will be doing more like we'll do a scene breakdown.
Goodness
Talk more about
gracious,
script
no.
breakdown. What was that?
Oh, just Raphael just said human centipede. I'm like, nope. Nope.
That one, yeah, it's interesting.
I'll never watch that.
Supposed to be a cool concept.
Human centipede sounds
Yeah, you're
lame.
right. You are right.
Human centipede sounds a bit lame.
As soon as I saw it, I almost
And
stopped
next
dead.
week we're gonna start talking about like writing for a budget. So then for the third script or second script, whoever has whatever one you guys are on, we'll be talking more about like writing for a small budget since most of us are gonna be trying to do these indie.
No, Beavis and Butthead was just dumb all around. That's what cool concept. They're just two idiots talking.
I completely agree. The
No,
game was
No,
fun.
guys, we said a cool concept. Come on.
but you guys are pretty like the last meeting we spent an hour just talking about the complexities of Rick and Morty. So you guys can definitely do it. Figure
Yeah,
out
you guys
one.
know what cool concepts are. I know you guys do.
Define cool, Raphael.
Let's go
says.
watch
Something
Sausage
that's
Party while we're
interesting
at it.
that was like, oh wow,
All
that's
right,
really
I'm gonna end
creative.
it. I'm gonna end it here though. So if anyone watching that wasn't able to come or whatever, if you guys have any recommendations, send it to us. And any questions, let us know.
So as far as cool concept goes,
Honey, I
what
almost-
we mean